Welcome to United We Stand, Divided We podcast. And I can't believe it, but I just realized we're on a streak where we haven't messed up the name of the program in quite a while. That's pretty good. I'm Lionel from Toronto, Canada. And of course, my colleague over there. Well,
Robert,
actually, he'd be that way.
Robert from the U.S., just outside Nashville, Tennessee. What's up, everybody?
Yeah, we got a lot of decent things to talk about today. I honestly, obviously, we're going to mention some stuff about Canada, United States, Mexico, China, and the Gaza Strip, as well as other things. And we know where we're going with that. But I want to get to that a little there. Stay tuned. Check it out. But since, those of you who do watch or those of you who do listen, we talk a lot about technology. So obviously we're going to be talking about some AI and some new things that are coming along and some new things that have been introduced into Gemini, ChatGPT, that other guy way across the other pond. And of course, there's a new phone in town, and I'm going to let Robert take this part. Yeah, there, he's got it ready here. Yeah.
Yes, the S25 Ultra, and it's been a great phone so far. It's definitely a noticeable improvement from the S23 Ultra. I know a lot of people say it's not a big jump from S24, and I can understand that, but it's definitely snappier. The screen on it is noticeably brighter and crisper than the 23, and the integrated AI stuff is pretty cool. I haven't really used it super heavily yet, but you can have just like conversations with your phone. Sometimes it wants to have a conversation, but I don't want to.
Yes, it's true. Well, you know what? The one thing you got to notice though is because I've been talking about it on mine since I got my Pixel 9 Pro XL. And of course, not since, because there were some things that had to be introduced later. You know how it is. But you were able to have Gemini, of course, on your phone, no problem. And of course, obviously, since then, there's been even Apple users using it. And obviously, anybody with an Android phone. But the difference is when there's some stuff that's built right in, more gets done. And I'm not even just talking about whether you can turn your lights on and off or something. But it's quicker. And I guess now you know what I was talking about. Because you seem to be enjoying it more than you did with your S23. You had a bit higher praise to it.
And I there's really nothing going on right now, but you can see at the bottom there, that green bar. That right there is that dynamic section that, like, for example, when our games are on, I have the score displayed constantly down there at the bottom. And so I think that's kind of cool.
So it's kind of like the Apple's Dynamic Island, but it's put in a different place. Is it movable at all, or
no? And that's not. It's static, and it also shows it up in the top bar at the same time, which is kind of nice.
Does it resize?
No, it's not like as soon as I click off the lock screen, see, it goes away.
Oh, so no, sorry. What I meant was, does it resize depending on what it's showing? Like if it's showing game information
no, it's the same size
playing.
Bar. It's the same size bar.
Okay.
Yeah. Another thing that's cool, and again, these are just little things. See, to me, I like sometimes these little things to me are bigger than the big things because I like this kind of stuff. But like on the lock screen, they have the ability now with generative wallpaper or dynamic wallpaper with AI generation that allows. So, for example, today is raining. My lock screen will have rain. It'll have rain
like the
coming
Pixel
down.
Weather app does that. Yeah,
but it's
except you get it for wallpapers.
Yeah. And so I thought that's kind of cool. So, I mean, I didn't have that in the pre-run. So I like little stuff like that. And like that little notification area and things like that. It's just,
what I like about it is that kind of thing and that kind of customizability without having to download a third-party app to do it. And it's not that there's a massive thing wrong with third-party apps, but in the past, whenever I wanted to change phones and I wanted my phone to look like the previous phone, I had to remember to download all these other apps or use an app to get, the backups and everything. Then they introduced the backups into Android. but you still had to wait for all those different apps, and you had to sign back into them, and then sometimes you had to re-download the content that you wanted. But having that stuff built in is just nicer. So let's talk about the look of the phone. Do you mind taking the case off yours for a sec and hold it up to the camera? Here, let me use my other hand here.
My phone doesn't like to be naked.
Neither does mine, because I'm afraid, but that's not the point. Let's wait a minute. I'm going to hold it sideways, actually, so you can see it better. Okay. You notice one thing if you then go around like that there's a very something very similar going on. Google and Samsung have chosen to go in the same direction that Apple has gone for a couple of years in making a phone that is, God, as my witness, far more comfortable to hold than rounded
100%.
edges. And the flat screen with the flat edges but rounded corners, so it still feels smooth in the hand, is so much better. And cases look better on it. Yeah, on the edges of the cases. I love it.
Here's one thing I had to change though. So when you I use swipe, I don't use the bar at the bottom.
Yeah.
I had to actually adjust the sensitivity on the side to compensate for this particular case. Now, other cases might not be this case, but because what I was finding is
pun intended.
I couldn't hit that, set that spot just right, and it wouldn't it wouldn't actually register my slide, and I would end up deleting an email or something.
Yeah, but the point is that you have the ability to do that adjustment.
Yeah. And once I did that, it's been perfect. I've had zero issues.
Is it a separate sensitivity where you can adjust sensitivity just on the edges, or is it the same sensitivity that you'd use like if you're going to put a screen protector on?
No, it's just an edge. It's just an edge sensitivity. And basically what it does is it just like makes it a little bit wider. It doesn't make it like more sensitive to touch. It just increases the width of the area that it registers.
Okay. So that must be a throwback to when they had curved screens, I imagine. Or is that new?
I've not ever seen that option.
Maybe then they really thought ahead
for it, but
they really thought ahead. Kudos to Samsung on that, because that's a brilliant idea. I hope they decide to share that with AOSP. Seriously,
well, I think they realize with the flat screen and a case, that edge part is harder.
I know exactly what you mean, because you can. I don't know if I can get this close enough and sharp enough, but you can see as I put my thumb there, it's a little bit more difficult. Now I'm gonna. So open my phone up here. If I do this, it did work. I must have had a meaty thumb going on there. I didn't think it was going to go. I don't have as much of a problem, but I do notice that sometimes it takes me a couple of swipes. About maybe 2 out of 10 times, I might have to do a couple of swipes to get it to work, which obviously doesn't happen when I don't have the case on. That said, I have the case on all the time.
I noticed it wasn't as bad when I had the Samsung case, but the Samsung case, to be honest with you, the one that has this charging ring, or the magnetic ring, I mean, it was so slippery. It was actually slipperier than the phone. And I was afraid I was going to drop it because it would literally slip out of my hand. So I bought a different one that has like a little bit more of a rubberized edge here. Yeah. But this is still nice and clear, because I like to be able to see through it. And it's got the QI2 capability still. It's cool because like today I was down to like 75%, and I just threw it on my charger at the office. I got a new one that's QI2 capable. And when I first put it on there, it says fast wireless charging 1 hour until full. And then you wait a second, and all of a sudden it'll say 30 minutes until full. It literally cuts it in half. It's like, okay, that's cool. I like that.
Figured it out quickly.
So
and that's only because it slows it down after 80% anyways. But
no, it says I have the option of turning that on or off.
No. It still will.
It's the same, even
battery.
At 90%.
You understand? It will after 80%. It will never charge full. There is no phone in the world right now that will do that because it's built into the battery for battery protection. If it wasn't, it wouldn't matter what the phone did. The battery could end up being screwed up. So no phone will charge 100% past 80%. As a matter of fact, most start to slow down between 65 and 75, but only a little bit. And then at 80, they slow down more. At 90, they slow down more. You hit 95%, and you're probably at 15-watt charging. You hit 98%, and you're probably only charging at 5% or 5 watt. Man, I'm not kidding.
Oh no, I'm sure that. I'm sure that slows down. I'm just saying it goes to 100%.
Oh no, it will, of course, and it goes faster. Like it's because even when it says 30 minutes, it was probably done in 21.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention. I was working, but yeah, it was nice. It's nice to be able to have an actual fast charging wireless and not just wired.
So let's talk about the pictures. First thing before you mention pictures is I want to know the S23 Ultra ever get updated or not updated? Was it capable of taking HDR pictures?
Yes.
Because I don't think any picture you ever sent me with that one is HDR. I look back in my whatever you call it, Google Photos, and none of them seem to be HDR. But the ones you sent me the other day from the S25 Ultra, they're all
maybe
HDR.
I didn't have it
And you
on.
can tell because as soon as you open it, they just go bright like that, eh?
Yeah, I thought I had that on, but yeah, I mean, I haven't messed around either with the log video. Haven't messed around with that yet, but
right.
It's definitely it's got more features for sure.
Yeah, well, maybe the previous one, yeah, maybe if you had it off, but I guess the S25 is like more like the Pixel, where it's just default on, and you have to turn it off if you don't want, rather than the other way around. But anyways, I like it better at first.
But
at first I didn't care because I figured no one was ever going to see the pictures the way I took them. But then I realized one day everyone's going to have HDR. It's not Google wouldn't do this unless everyone was going to do it, right? So inevitably, that's the way it is. There isn't a phone like iPhones. I'll take pictures, HDR pictures now. They're slightly different, but it's the same basic thing. So if somebody sends me a picture from an iPhone, a late model iPhone with HDR enabled, same thing happens. I open it in my Google Photos on my phone and it goes bright instantly. Unfortunately, when I look at it on the TV, it doesn't work. I'd like to see some TVs actually update their firmwares so that if you're casting to the TV, it can still actually read that type of HDR, because it's different from video HDR, to be clear. It's not the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I've only had it, not even a week, and I haven't really had a chance to take any real nice pictures.
Well, yeah, but I guess
I could have taken some more at the game, but that's
well, yeah, I can understand you not wanting to.
Yeah,
that one didn't come out the way you wanted it to.
No.
What was the score of that game? I shouldn't even ask. What were on the?
Oh no, it doesn't matter. It's 5-2. Is what it.
Okay, so it wasn't a shutout. All right.
No.
Well, there you go. What were we moving on to? The AI stuff. Yeah, Gemini 2.0 Flash is no longer experimental. It's about a week or two ago where they took it out of the experimental, but you could only get it if you went to the Gemini.google.com site, not in the the Gemini app.
Right.
But as of a few days ago, they started pushing it out. But some point yesterday, it seems that almost everybody, if not everybody, got pushed out the 2.0 Flash. So it is now the default when you open Gemini. And the 1.5 Pro is available. You just have to hit the drop down. And today, they've updated again so that now you have the 1.5 Pro with deep research, which I don't know if we discussed that a lot.
I didn't look at that. I'm curious because I know I have it online.
You should have it now because it was a heavy push as well. And I got to keep talking because otherwise it'd be dead air.
No, I have 1.5 deep research. I don't have 2.0.
Oh, no. I didn't say 2.0 deep. I said 1.5 deep research.
Oh, did you?
There is no 2.0 deep research. The only way they'll ever be able to do 2.0 deep research is after they get 2.0 to be out of experimental. And I don't think we're expecting that for at least a couple of months, maybe longer. At which point, for anyone with Gemini Advanced, that will automatically be your default on the phone. Yeah. Without it, you'll have to pay for it, obviously. But the 1.5 Flash, the 2.0 Flash, is free to everyone with an Android phone or an Apple phone, I think, too, as well. Or no, wait, maybe they didn't update that one yet for them. I can't remember. I got to look at it.
That I don't know.
There is one or two things that they didn't get. I think. Oh, it's a deep research. I think they didn't get on their phones.
Makes sense.
But nonetheless, they can still, as long as they have a Google account, they can still use it on. Oh wait, no, they can't unless they have the advanced because it's the Pro. You have to pay for it, or you have to have paid for advance or the Google one thing.
Yeah, so. One thing that's nice too is that, and I'm pretty sure you could do it on the Pixel too. It gives me the option of running my stuff on device only as opposed to reaching out to the cloud. So if I did just want to have that level of like, I don't want you going out to cloud for this, then I could turn it off. However, you're going to highly restrict your answers and your capabilities because a lot of it is, internet necessary, to function, but to its 100% capability.
Well, and here's an interesting example I can give right now of on device. Like a lot of people thinking, oh well, okay, so you're going to tell it to open an app, or not necessarily. It could be something. Two examples. Let's say I want to know how tall is Kobe Bryant. It's got to use the internet. You're not going to do it any other way, right?
Yeah.
Simple thing. But let's say I want to say to it, I would like to rewrite this letter, and you've included the Word file or the Google Doc file or whatever, or PDF even, and you say, I need to reword this. Can you help me reword this? It doesn't go online. It does 100% of that on your phone as long as you're using the Gemini app and 2.0 Flash, and it will do it right there on your phone. And it is, I can guarantee you, quicker than 1.5 Pro, because I did a couple of things with it. Nothing super extensive, but what I did notice is that it does answer questions a little bit quicker. It doesn't necessarily answer them better. It hasn't become smarter yet. It still has things that it doesn't know and doesn't have access to, or like you ask it. I asked it, what's the best hockey team in the NHL right now, and it says, well, that's a bit of a tricky question, and there are various reasons. I said, no. Who's got the most points? I don't have access to real time. I'm like, wait a minute. Yes, you do. Because if I can ask you, how tall is so-and-so, or what's so-and-so's birthday? And you're going to go look for the actual information. But then it explained itself. And this is what got me. It explained itself as to why it can't do that. And it actually made sense.
Okay.
But it says it with personality. I just hate that it keeps apologizing so much. I wish it would stop doing that.
Yeah, I made mine a British female. I like the way it sounds.
I used to do that with what'd you call the old one again? Assistant.
Yeah.
But I don't like the British voice on Gemini very much. For some reason, it sounds robotic compared to the more American sounding ones, which is odd.
It's all kind of robotic, but it is what it is. It's not bad. So.
I'd like to get my Gemini with a extremely thick Japanese voice.
I thought they had something. I thought they had something that was like that. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I went through several. I went through all of them just so I could see if there's anything new. There really wasn't anything new from the previous iterations of Gemini or Assistant. They all seem to be the same. So
Yeah.
it'd be nice if, like, how, you can use some of these AI platforms to clone your own voice or somebody else's voice, and so you could like, I could clone my wife's voice to say, the time and talk to me. It could
Well,
be
see,
kind of
that's the
creepy, I
thing is
guess,
that
but
that stuff is already available technically, but there, you know what? This is an interesting debate. Um, what are the good reasons that you could and shouldn't be able to clone your own voice for your AI assistant on your device? Do you want to be point or counterpoint? Because I think we could make this interesting for 5 minutes.
there's no reason to not have the ability of doing your own. I think to have the ability of doing somebody else's, like, it'd be weird
No,
for
no,
me to,
not
like,
somebody else's.
clone
Not
your
no. Wait a minute. Not
voice.
somebody else's. Let's stick to you doing your own voice, which you
Well,
can't actually verify necessarily where that's true without voice match. But since Gemini basically does work similar, and they're obviously because right now it is using the assistant voice match for sensitive
right,
stuff. So they can
right,
continue to use voice match and maybe even require you to use biometrics to verify so that you can actually set up that voice. But at the same time, it should be something that only works on the device. As in, you can't like copy it and say, okay, I'm going to take this file and put it somewhere else. So it's just a
right.
situation. I would love to be able to do it, not necessarily with my voice, but I wouldn't be able to do it with the other person's voice. And that would be the issue because I don't want to talk to myself. That would sound stupid
Well,
and
no.
narcissistic and stuff, right? But how would you be able to get permission to have someone else's voice on it unless somebody had signed a document? Nobody's going to do that. So like a voice can be used on somebody else's phone. You do it with a girlfriend, and then you break up, and then she sues you because you've been using her voice.
Well, but even then, even if you did get somebody to sign, and let's say you used
Yeah.
it for, X, and she said, "Oh, I only wanted you to use it for Y. I didn't want you to use it for X." Well, you signed the pay. You still have a real gray area there of, like, use
Would
it
it
for
still be a
this, not
gray
for
area if it
that.
was still Twitter? All right, bad joke. Sorry, dad joke's gone. Okay. Well, you said X. I mean, but no, yeah, no, exactly. I get what you're saying. Here's the thing, though. I do like the idea of being able to do the voice clone thing under certain circumstances, and it would be kind of nice if you could do it and then give permission for someone else. So if I said I wanted to clone, say, my dad's voice, so my dad would be the one I would be asking to turn the lights off every day, and he'd get a kick out of that, and he'd do it for me. He wouldn't care, right? But I'd say, okay, Dad, the way it works is I have to actually send you this link, and you have to actually sign in with your Google account and verify that you're okaying it. You're probably going to have to use biometrics to verify that. And then it would come back to me saying, yes, it's okay. He would record it and I'd get it. Really long-winded thing, but that is the only bloody way Google would ever do it to get around the legal ramifications of it. And even then, there would always be somebody that would take advantage of it and do something wrong in that case.
It's just like HeyGen and Video AI, all these other AI tools that allow you to clone your own voice for
Yes.
video generation. They make you read a statement that says,
Yes.
I, so-and-so, give NVIDIA AI authorization to clone my voice to use with blah, 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 blah. So,
Right.
but still, I just don't, I guess now they think about it, I wouldn't want to clone anybody else's voice. I would just be
That's what I'm saying. See, the uneasiness of it right there. While it would be cool, the problem is the difference between that and something like HeyGen or whatever is that you're now talking about giving the authorization for your voice to be used on a device you don't own, where anything and everything can and will be discussed without your knowledge ever about what that is. So if somebody who is brilliant in technology manages to find a way to get you to say just the right thing in the AI, not you personally, and record that,
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously the
So,
video AI and Hey Jen, obviously you are using your voice to record and or create
yes,
a video that you are creating
yes.
for your own use on a YouTube platform or
And of course, there is
Instagram,
still
whatever.
the wonderment out there of, since this is not being done technically on your computer, is it being saved? And are they using that clone file nefariously somewhere else without your knowledge?
Yeah, you don't know.
We don't know, at least not yet, until someone gets caught doing it. Somewhere along the line, somebody will, and eventually someone will get caught, and that'll end up being the big news story. The big news story right now is different. Here's the segue. We don't have a sponsor, so we can't cut to that. However, what we can do is say it's on everybody's minds right now, and not necessarily for good reasons. But a certain very orange fellow has
Just his name. His name is Donald Trump.
Oh God, do I have to?
You can say his name. It's not.
All right,
it's not
all right, fine. All right, let me start again. Let me start again. He who shall not be named has said.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Okay, fine. Voldemort. I said it. Well, who's better, right? Anyways, you know, I don't even know how to bring this up because it's mind-boggling. I mean, first of all, the teasing of Canada having to become should become a 51st state, taking over Greenland, something else he mentioned about taking over, and then now the Gaza Strip. Man, you are touching on some really thin ice. I mean, he thinks that he can do whatever he wants because he's the leader of what he calls the free world. The free world isn't the same as 1980s. You can't use the term leader of the free world anymore. It doesn't work that way anymore. The world has changed dramatically, and seriously, after everything that we all went through from 1991. And technically, some people are still fearing quite a bit today. The word is terrorism. How can you even make that statement without assuming that a mass group of terrorists are already making plans for something they're going to do in the next few years? That makes no sense to me.
But it's not even that. It's just that we don't have any right to go over there and take the guys.
Well, I agree, but I'm just thinking
something we have the right to do.
You're not only going to disrupt all of those people who you have no right to disrupt, but you are going to bring hell back to the U.S. inevitably by doing so. It makes no sense. Get out and leave them alone, right? If you want to get involved, then get involved by saying to Israel, you guys have your differences, so this needs to stop now. They live there, you live here, you need a better border patrol, right? Leave each other alone, for God. And it's hard when you get attacked. I mean, they should never have done that in the first place. That's obvious. But, I mean, the amount of pushback was devastating. And, you know, now they've signed their little peace agreement, and the U.S. says, okay, well, there's a peace agreement. Let's go in and do what we did in 1945 and oust some people and divide some people. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
No,
to me.
And it's just, to me, it's not going to bring any peace. It's going to bring only more unsettling
it's going to bring
circumstances war. Because, you already have the Houthis shooting rockets off into the ocean or aircraft carriers. I mean, and that's just because we're in the area. I mean, I can only imagine if they go in trying to put boots on the ground in the Gaza Strip to assume the rights of a piece of land that we have no right to assume ownership of.
Well, I mean, it's not that the U.S. doesn't have enough manpower and resources to actually do it. The issue isn't even that. Obviously, they can, but inevitably, if they do that, they're going to end up fighting wars on several fronts. I believe Germany tried that once. Oh, no, twice. Well, and it failed both times, miserably.
Yeah, I don't,
It's
to me, I just think it's one of his tactics again. He's all about tactics, and he uses these things as tactics, just like this whole Canada and Mexico situation. And now that, the Canadian and Mexican tariffs have been paused for 30 days so they
yeah.
can just discuss their options, it's bringing people to the table. I just feel like this is a tactic, but to me, it's just a wrong way to
Well,
go
of
about
course it is, because
tactics.
you know what, he knew that it was going to result in things, and he also was already informed of everything Mexico had been doing already since the Biden administration to address his so-called concerns, and also everything that Canada's already had put in place and was implementing and beginning to implement. And then there's this thing about fentanyl. The first time he mentioned that, I thought, what the hell are you talking about? We don't get fentanyl from Canadians. People take fentanyl, they get it from Americans. What are you talking about? Less, and here's it. People are saying now, less than 1%. It's actually, I think, 0.13% or something like that. It's like
I read 0.6 is what I read.
Well, yeah, okay, all right. So the numbers are
0.6%
inaccurate.
is,
So okay, well, we'll go with the numbers. Yeah, we'll go with the numbers are inaccurate. It's less than 1%. So we'll just, and it's ridiculous. But the thing is that there are, much like in the U.S., thousands of people every year dying from overdoses involving fentanyl all across Canada, and almost all of that fentanyl came over the border from the U.S. So,
well, I think that's what he's saying too, though, is that what he thinks is happening is people are coming into Canada and then coming through Canada, basically using Canada as a passageway into the United States. Not being manufactured and distributed by Canadians, but that it's used as a passage to get it into the States, because that border crossing is much easier.
Yeah, except that part's not true. There are other facets of people doing things illegal, using Canada as a doorway, if you will, to get into the U.S. And that's been true for decades. Yeah. Canada has, slowed that down. But here's the biggest deal: most of that blame of them going through Canada and getting into the States, he's constantly tried to lay on Canada. Who the heck's border guards let them into your country? We didn't have them come into our country with illegal shit. It doesn't happen that way. Whatever they did wrong, a lot of it wasn't done wrong in Canada. But if there was something that we should have known and we missed it, then yeah, Canada made mistakes, obviously. But why did the American Border Patrol let them in if they already knew? So there's that amount of blame you're throwing on the neighbors. It's ridiculous. It's like you said in your experiences in Europe, and other people I've talked to, including your son, going through Europe, country. If you do that in 1938, you have to stop at every border where they show me your papers. And in some countries, you could be stopped at the drugstore. Show me your papers. And to this day, if you want to cross past certain parts of Europe, you will have to obviously be screened far more than you would come into Canada or the United States, even in some cases. Some cases they won't let you in because you're Canadian or American or German or whatever, depending on the country you're going to, under certain circumstances at certain times. But it's just, we've had an easy border for a long time, but they've tightened it up so much. It's almost impossible to get into the States unless you're so unbelievably squeaky clean that you're shining. So, I blame American and Canadian border officials, because it happens the other way, for not doing their jobs, if that's the case, because they harass people that aren't bad.
Well, that's why he's increasing the border patrol, or he's increasing the border coverage on our side as well, on both the Canadian and the Mexican side. I think he put like 10,000 additional soldiers on the Mexican side. and that's a lot of troops to.
No, he didn't put 10,000 additional. He put 1,500 additional. I looked at the numbers. The numbers, or it was 2,000. It might have been 2,000. The numbers were actually already done in the Biden administration. He just basically added the extra 1,500 to get it up to what he wanted it to be, anyways, which is still an increase, and it's fine. You can call it a positive. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to stop people from coming in. The best way to do it is put them on the border and stop them at the border. Right. I hate the kicking out people. If you don't want to let anybody in, don't let anybody in. I hate the kicking out part. That's the part that bugs me more than anything. And the same thing with Canada. Canada's been guilty of that too in the past, and still is, where they'll say, "Oh, well, I don't care if this family's been here for 35 years. We've decided that he doesn't meet the qualifications." Well, 35 years, you should have given him.
Let me correct myself. It wasn't 10,000 U.S. troops. Mexico agreed to send 10,000 Mexican troops.
Yes.
I knew I saw 10,000 somewhere. But
that's right.
Yeah, it was the other side.
That way also had nothing to do with Trump, believe it or not. Again, they agreed to do that during the Biden administration, and it put at least 3/4 of those troops on the border already before Trump was elected.
Well, let me ask you this question.
He's taking credit for doing it.
Do you know the current trade agreement that's in place with Canada, that the majority of that trade agreement, do you know when it was signed into place?
The current one was when Trump was president, because he wanted to veto the previous one.
2018.
Yes.
Yeah. So with his statement in the White House, because I watched his press. Canada is the worst deal ever. It's the worst deal ever. It's the worst.
He's the one who insisted it to be that way.
He signed it. He's the one that put it in place.
He's the one. Exactly. He insisted this has to happen, and this has to happen. This is the only one I'm willing to sign. And so when Canada and Mexico finally agreed to that, he said, "This is the best deal ever. This is the best deal ever.
Best deal
and
ever.
Then he's ever. I know it. He knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Gotta do the lips. Everybody knows it."
So ridiculous. No, just so ridiculous.
I'm dribbling. Sorry.
You really are acting like Trump, probably. Him and his Diet Coke. He's got a Diet Coke button on the phone in the White House, in the Oval Office. Did you know that?
Oh, wait a minute. I got way too much rhythm to be doing the Donald Trump. I can't even do it. How did he do that? I can't even. He just kind of going like this, sort of.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to go there because I can't dance to save my life. So that's not even fair on that one. I'll call it the way it is. So, but on the other hand, let's be realistic. Who does it better, Donald Trump or Elaine Bennis?
Or who?
Oh, come on! You don't even know what I'm talking about. Seinfeld, Elaine.
What dance does she do?
Oh, you don't
like Trump.
The Elaine dance. It's not like Trump. She just had another thing. She had her thumbs up and she would kick the leg out.
Oh, yeah.
It was very jerky dance.
I know that, but I thought you were saying that she did that same kind of thing. I'm like,
no. Just because it's a dumb dance that everyone would just stand on and laugh at, as opposed to looking at. And I mean, usually when someone dances, there's three responses. Holy crap, that person's a good dancer. You don't care because they dance like an average person. Whether it's good or bad is irrelevant. Or they're so terrible, people can't stop watching. It's like watching a train crash into a building and pancake everywhere. And you're like horrified, but you cannot stop watching it. Or driving down the freeway. And you're like, why is the traffic so slow? And it turns out that it's on the other side. But everybody had to slow down and drive like this.
Well, I will say one thing, that this especially this whole Canadian U.S. thing, it sure has brought some really funny people out with some hilarious skits and memes, I can tell you.
Yes, that's very true.
There's some good ones out there, man. I just bust out laughing, and at least on TikTok, and until I guess the United States government is going to buy half of TikTok or something now. I don't know. He was saying something about that. But yeah, yeah. So who knows? I don't even know when is the next TikTok ban.
Was there another TikTok ban?
Well, it only was it was, again, I call it like a stay of execution. It was only put off. It wasn't
a stay of execution.
It wasn't
oh man,
completely okay, everything's back in good order. I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to look it up. I don't recall. If I'm not mistaken, I thought it was 30 days or 90 days or something like that. So, I mean, it could be banned again because if nobody buys it again, we're back in the same spot. I mean, he just came in and stopped the order. And again, it was only a 30-day or 60, 90, something like that. I don't think it was longer than 90 days. And just to say, okay, let's just pause it, put it back like it was to give us time to figure out what we can do, what can be done, et cetera, et cetera. So ultimately, if it comes back to the same thing that they're no, we're not selling it. Yes, you have to sell it. Then, okay, now you're banned. It's gonna be
you know what I'd like to see though, then is somebody buy the rights to use the code exact to, oh my God, I forgot the name of it. Yeah. The video editing suite there,
CapCut.
Yeah, CapCut. Because they're not going to be able to buy. I mean, what's the name? I can't remember.
See, that's another thing. That's another thing I was thinking about the other day. Okay, let's say the U.S. buys TikTok, right? Let's say whatever, and TikTok is safe. Well, they're not buying ByteDance. All these other applications owned by ByteDance, I guess they're going to still get banned at the end of this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would like to see somebody who's, rich enough to say, oh, well, let me just buy this out and then offer the same services to everyone that isn't, everyone that would otherwise get banned. Americans, and if necessary, Canadians, if it gets banned here too. And because nobody else is offering anything that is worth it. I mean, their free version is getting a little they're starting to limit a lot what you can do in the app on the phone. But it still does quite a bit. You can edit as much video as you want, but you may notice from the last one I sent you, they've now decided to put a watermark on it. Well, geez, they've already been banned in the US once, and now they're going to start putting freaking watermarks on? So you have to pay for it. I would love it if somebody bought it and said, yeah, you can use this as much as you want, but all of the pro features are off limits, period.
Yeah.
You have to pay for it if you want the pro features, but your basic editing is still 10 times. It works on a phone. It works on a cheap laptop, you still get good quality.
Software. I didn't have any issues with it. I like using it.
Well, it's fantastic actually for what it is.
All that's still up in the air. So who knows what's going to happen with all that crap? But
yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I'm being, my subscription, because I did pay for the pro because of all the editing I do on my tech channel, and I do some with this as well. And I just used some of the pro features, so it just made sense. It wasn't expensive, like $60 a year. I mean, it was really cheap. But I turned my annual subscription because it was actually coming due this month or beginning of March.
Right.
I turned it into a monthly, so that way, if it does get banned, excuse me, I'm not going to lose out an entire year's.
Yeah, right. That makes a lot of sense. But how much is the monthly? How much is the monthly though?
It's like $8 or something. It's
so like 300 in Canada. 300,000.
Yeah. I mean,
50 million pesos.
Not expensive.
800
and
billion
I
rubles.
might even just go ahead and cancel it too, and just use the free until it's gone, or maybe
depending on what you want,
that DaVinci Resolve.
Depending on what you're doing with the CapCut, you may not. Oh no, you can't, because again, they watermark it now unless you pay for it. and you don't want watermarks on your professional videos. For videos I'm doing, I don't care.
So,
I'm editing videos of me playing COD. And sending them to a couple of friends is about it.
When you edit and create the video, it's watermarking it, just editing your own video?
Yep, absolutely, 100%. Huh. They only started doing that like a couple of weeks ago. It's bullshit, in my opinion. Like, if you look at that last video I sent you, of whatever the hell it was I did in COD.
Yeah, and that's the one you did that compilation of your best moves.
Yeah, yeah. Plays. And it had the watermark. And it did say I could remove it once for free. And so I did, and it said, okay, this is your one-time free removal of the watermark, and then it's saved with the watermark anyways.
Huh. Interesting. Does
okay, whatever.
Does like this DaVinci Resolve? Do they have an app that works on a phone?
They don't. No, they don't actually, which is
I didn't know.
Kind of annoying. But I understand why they don't, because it would still be a massive thing for a phone.
It's definitely a lot more granular, very robust, as far as controls than the
and the audio control in it is professional. I mean, again, this is used by movie studios.
Right.
In editing the movie itself, cutting it, adding special effects, color grading and color correcting, and the entire process. And then they go into the sound and they'll mix the entire sound inside DaVinci Resolve as well, in which is I forgot what they call it. And I looked up the information about why each one of these modules that they have is actually, he was given those names, and they all pertain to classic movie making equipment and sound equipment and stuff, or recording equipment. So there's reasons that they're actually called that, and I thought that's pretty cool. So yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a brilliant software, and the free one does virtually anything you need it to do if you are an enthusiast. And even the stuff that you can only get in the pro version, there are workarounds to get it to do something that looks almost identical.
If anything I'm doing, it would be more than capable of doing what I would need.
It's you're 100% free.
Because I don't. I mean, it's
well again, I can show you that. I mentioned this to you before. I said I can show you how to do it. I don't. We got to do it on video.
I don't want to learn another application.
You don't have to. It's not a long process. It's like 15 minutes on the damn phone, and I can show you how to do it. I'm not kidding. That's it. 15 minutes. Because once you learn it, the only thing you have to actually do is drag and drop what you learned onto the next file. But I'll show you. And just pick a Saturday or Sunday.
If I decide to go that route, then I'll let you show me. But
you're going to decide
until I have to. I'm not. I don't want to.
You're going to have to. Because wait a minute. I have spoken.
Yeah. We know how those usually turn out. So
listen, just for those of you who are listening and you obviously can't see this. There is I guess you want to call it a meme. It's a GIF, animated GIF. It's from The Mandalorian, and I can't remember what that little creature was. A little small guy from that other planet. And every time he would say something important, he would end it with, "I have spoken." And
put his hand up,
so the GIF shows him saying that, turning to walk away, and I just did that. So if anybody's listening, that's what that's about. Also, every time I make my prediction of the Preds winning, to try to make my friend here feel better about it, I always end it with "I have spoken," and then they end up getting their butts kicked 7-1 or something. I don't know what. So I have a very poor track record. I've spoken.
Our season's a loss. So I mean, there's no way.
Well, honestly, I still believed up until about 2 games ago that they might have a chance. But the truth of the matter is, mathematically, they'd have to win 96% of their games right now to make the playoffs. That's pathetic, right? Because there's only 20 games left, right? Something like that. 20 or 22.
Yeah.
depending on what team you are.
Are we in the 60s already? Are we in the 60 games played already?
I don't remember. Oh wait, no, it's 32. I'm saying the wrong numbers. I actually don't remember now. I'm completely lost.
I can tell you. Let's see, because I didn't think we had played quite that many. I mean, it's close. It's very close to that number, but it doesn't matter. It does. We could be like mid-season, and because they're just not. They're just not coming back.
Yeah, it's 30. It's 30. I'm thinking 30. Okay, it's 30 games left.
Yeah,
30 games left. So I'm a little off. It's about you'd have to win about 85% of your games. I was off.
Is that all?
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, that's not impossible. But mathematically, for a team that's not playing good, it's not going to happen. I mean,
considering we're third from the bottom of the entire league, I mean that's come on, yeah.
And
it's not.
Remind me again, who's number 1 in the league right now?
Well, your team is, as I've been telling you all year long.
Go Jets, go! Listen, I don't fall off the bandwagon really, but I get very upset when they don't win. Because here's the thing, I want them to win first. Because when's the last time the team that finished first in the NHL actually won the Stanley Cup?
I don't know, because you get that President's Trophy jinx going.
Well, yeah, but that's only recent. That's only new. Back in the day, if you were the best team, you won. Edmonton Oilers, best team, won. Best team, won. Second best, didn't. Best team, won. Best team, won. Second best, didn't. Best team, won. Detroit, best team in the league. Didn't win, won. Won, didn't win, won. It was like, 3 in 7 years? They went to the Cup 5 times in 7 years or something like that. I can't remember what the numbers are. Detroit was probably the most dominant team since Montreal Canadiens of the 70s, Islanders of the 70s. And when I say dominant, I don't just mean winning the Cup. I mean in their actual play throughout the season. They were so much better than everyone. That was also the time when they set the record, which still stands for most wins in a season. I can't remember how many they win. 3 billion games out of 82. It was crazy, and every year they were winning somewhere between 52 and 62 games. It was crazy, like for 5 or 6 years straight, and they won 3 cups in 5 years or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was a lot. And they were, that good.
I've written this season off. It is what it is.
It is.
And that's why, I went when I went to this last game, Kenny's like, "Oh, I think we're going to beat." I was like, "Kenny, no, it's not. We're probably not going to win." And so I go into it now. I don't have the expectation or even the hope of winning. So if we do win, I'm like really excited. Like, okay, great, we won one. All right, cool. That's
a lie. He's lying to you. He's never excited. I say, hey, your team won. They go, yeah, whatever, until they can put a string together.
Yeah,
you're not even excited when they win.
Excited about it. I can not be super excited about it, but still be glad they won.
Okay,
but
fair enough.
when they lose, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Let's go home. I'm not so pissed off about it.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
There's been a few times I left that arena like pissed, and that if there would have been a opposing team's fan that wanted to run his mouth to me, it would not have ended well for either one of us.
Oh, that would be bad at that point.
There's been a couple of times I've been like, we got to get out of here, and like right now, because I'm so pissed, I want to go down there and punch Brunette in the face right now.
You know what the heck? As long as we're talking about hockey, we don't have that much time. We get onto this for a bit. What do you think about Winnipeg having Boston's number of recent times? I mean, they destroyed them in the early part of the season, and a lot of people, myself included, thought, oh, well, this is either going to be a really tight game or Boston's going to have some massive revenge on the Jets when they play, a couple of months later, and they did. So just to put this into perspective, if nobody remembers, I think the Jets won 7-1 or 7-2 back in, what was it, December or something, or October? I don't remember when. It was the early part of the season. Yeah, and then they played them last week and beat them, I think it was 6-2. And it's like, wait a minute now. They're just kicking their, like, they literally walk all over them. Boston's not like they were like 10 years ago, where they're like this best team in the league that everyone thinks is going to win the Stanley Cup, but then gets ousted in the first or second round. But they're not a terrible team either. They still can pound on people pretty good. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Winnipeg has their number? Do you think they just got kind of lucky and Boston played a couple of bad games against them?
Oh no, I don't know if I really think either. I just think the Jets are a really good hockey team, period. And they know how to play against people. Everybody's going to have bad games. Everybody's going to lose 2 or 3. That's just the way hockey goes. There's a lot of games, okay? But they're just a good, balanced, very effective hockey team. And we should be as well with our roster, but we are not. And that's
agreed.
That's got me so pissed off this year. Is like, we should be much better than what we are, period. Maybe not, top 3, but we should be at least top 5 for sure. And we should be in contention.
Even if you're having a bad year, the Preds, in my opinion, at least on paper, should, from the experience from the past, should have been in the upper half of the top half, as in the top 25%, the 25th percentile, if you will. I'm actually amazed. Like, I swear to you, when they started out bad, I was 100% sure, even after 10 games, this team at worst was going to be at the bottom of the top half. And it just doesn't make any sense to me, and it still doesn't.
We've been swimming at the bottom of the deep end for a long time.
But I don't even get where it's coming from. It makes no sense. Like, even when it happened last year, and then they were told, "Oh, you can't go on that little trip," and they went, "Oh, screw this. We're going to play harder," and they dominated. They were, and just to put this into perspective, Winnipeg 2 years ago had a phenomenal first half of the season in which they spent at least part of it at or near the top, and for the first few weeks into the second half of the season, they again managed to get into first place for at least a week before they started to fall, and they played badly for a while, but then they went, screw this, and they won the last 8 games of the season. Even with that great play at the end of the season and the great play at the beginning of the second half of the season, the best team in the league from the midway point to the end of the season was by far the Preds. Not the previous year, the last year. Because they did that good. If they had even, 5 more wins, it would have made a huge difference in the standings of where they sat. But much like the Jets, they stood zero chance in doing anything past that. And I couldn't understand why.
I went into this season like really pumped because we were keeping a lot of the new guys that had that fantastic run at the end of last year.
Right.
And we brought in some good, high quality veterans, Stanley Cup quality players. And by the way, Marchessault has been killing it. He and Forsberg are the top scorers on the team by far. Marchessault has been playing fantastic in the second half of the season.
Yeah, Roman's still doing good.
He's falling off.
What the hell just happened?
I'm not sure what happened there.
What? We're still on, or just
it's still recording.
That's uninterrupted, right?
Yeah, it just blinked our. Sorry about that.
1970s TV. Technical difficulties are ours. Please stay tuned.
That was
oh
weird.
Boy, a little bit.
I guess that's our cue to wrap it up.
Yeah, probably. I guess it is. So listen, I'll give my prediction of the Stanley Cup. I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. I am Lionel. I am in Toronto, Canada. We do this every week, every Wednesday. Wednesday's when we record it. You may hear it Wednesday. If something goes wrong, you may not hear it or see it until Thursday. However, that said, let's get out of this. Oh, yeah. If you are just listening, by the way, I want to apologize for sometimes alluding to things physically without explaining myself. I'm going to try to make a better point to remember that we actually have a bigger audience right now listening than watching. So thank you very much for that listen. and for downloading. If you are watching, please like and subscribe. And Robert, you can send us off.
Yep. Robert from Nashville, USA. Peace out.
Bye bye.